Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm out here in the garage kind of finishing up filming for today. And I just got done filming a From the Vault field strip and firearms tutorial video on one of the Mateba 6 Unica auto revolvers, the one in 44 Magnum. I've already done the range report on the one in 357, and I just did a video where I show how to take the gun apart, and that is a beast to get back together. Taking it apart's not that bad. Getting it back together is tough, and it took me, I actually had to rehearse the video. Very rarely do I have to rehearse things, but I had to take the gun apart about 2 times to make sure I could do it in generally 1 or 2 takes, because sometimes it just was not cooperative. That is not a gun designed for easily disassembly and reassembly. But anyway, I did not get to the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. I do have the computer out here to do it all, and it's on the list, and I'm sorry. I know some of you guys don't care about that segment, but I do like making those because I really feel like I get good interactions with people, and I like talking about guns, you know. In a way, I kind of like doing the stuff I do on this channel more than I do the main channel because I just like talking about guns to fellow gun nerds and gun nuts or whatever you guys want to call yourselves. But anyway, I wanted to talk again tonight very briefly about Matt Hoover. Now, I know some people said yesterday, I don't want to hear his name again. I totally get it and blah, blah. But I do want to clarify something in my position on the situation in the auto keycard case that I don't think people understand from my videos. And that first thing is, I don't think that he should be in jail. People think that because I criticize him for his legal strategy, for his decisions to do what he did, that I think he should be in jail. I don't think he should be in jail. If I was on that jury, I would have voted to acquit, okay? And I want to make that completely clear. First and foremost, that is completely how I feel about the situation. But that doesn't mean, because I'm educated on the topic and you're educated on the topic of what's a machine gun, what he was doing, that does not mean that he made poor decisions. And as we all know in life, if you make poor decisions, even if it's to do something that is legal, you might have negative consequences. And the one thing that I want to talk about that people mentioned in the comments, and by the way, we had some great dialogue in yesterday's video, and I really appreciate it. And I really enjoy talking to people that disagree with me on this issue, because I like to learn from you guys as much as hopefully you guys feel like you learned from me. That's what this is all about, right? Communication is key. And this is how we grow as a community and get the best results. Somebody brought up in the comments that the reason that they say everybody is so mad is that when he began to advertise for the auto key card, and when the maker of the auto key card began making them, that they approached the ATF and got approval. Like, I guess the maker said, or contacted his ATF field office. They said it's okay, it's not a machine gun, it's just a piece of metal with a little drawing on it. And then Matt Hoover, who was an FFL SOT, so he's supposed to be knowledgeable on the law, he contacted his field office, and they said it's okay. And then the next thing that happens, I don't know how long, months later, weeks later, whatever, he gets arrested. And that's what people are so upset about, is that they ask permission, okay? Now, I am very perplexed by the people that would be upset about this, because one of the comments and one of the themes that I get in many of my videos where I do political commentary is that people will say, in some ways, free men don't ask for permission, okay? So if I was talking about the pistol brace rule, and I would say, well, this is what I recommend to do, you know, to follow the rule until the judgments come down and the lawsuits are filed. There were a bunch of people that were pissed off at me, you know, when I did the amnesty registration trial kind of thing. You know, I'm the worst person in the world. I'm a traitor. I'm a bootlicker, whatever. They were just saying, you know, free men don't ask permission. And they were mad at me because they're like, you asked permission. Well, why aren't you mad at Matt Hoover and forgot the guy's name that made the auto key cards? Why aren't you guys mad at him for asking for permission? No one's pissed off about that. But then in other cases, people will say, and we'll go back to that pistol brace rule video series that I did. People would always tell me, Jason, you're stupid and you're an idiot because the ATF changes their mind all the time. They change the rules and you can't believe a word that they say. We can look at the history of the ATF when it comes to Waco and Ruby Ridge and all these rule changes. And in the past, they've called shoelaces a machine gun. We can go to all of these different examples, okay? And I think that when people tell me, they say, you can't trust the ATF. Don't take anything they say, even if it is a written opinion letter from their legal team. Don't take it as fact. Don't believe it because they can change their mind tomorrow and just come and arrest you. And you know what? That is a very valid point because we all understand that is the world that we live in. We live in a post-constitutional republic. Now, is that what we want? No. But the world isn't fair, the world isn't perfect. And so these people that I can tell you will defend Matt Hoover on one hand, but then tell me on the other in my pistol brace videos and be upset with me about those, not to trust the ATF. Don't trust the ATF. You're now on a registry and blah, blah, blah. Those are all fair points, okay? Using past actions of the ATF and the history of the ATF. Citing those things, it's very valid opinions and thoughts to go, don't trust them. Okay? So I'm right there with you on that. So why do you think that when Matt Hoover and the guy that created the auto key card went to the ATF and they said it's okay, that they should have believed them? Now, if they thought this truly was not a machine gun, and truly was not in the gray area and truly was a freedom of speech issue, okay? Why did they even feel the necessity or the need to even ask the ATF? If it is such a clear-cut First Amendment issue of taking a piece of metal and etching a little surface thing of a lightning link on it, why would they even have to ask permission? So if you think that people that ask permission are traitors and bootlickers and so forth, well, why aren't you mad at Matt Hoover because he asked permission? And then why aren't you mad at Matt Hoover and calling him out and saying he's stupid because he essentially believed the ATF when many of you tell me don't believe the ATF? I can guarantee you the people that tell me not to believe the ATF are the ones on Matt Hoover's side and are mad. They're like, well, he got permission from the ATF. You can't have it both ways. But I'm asking you the rhetorical question once again. If it was a clear non-issue, like it's not even a firearm, like there's no doubt about it, why even ask permission? For example, if I was going to create a little piece of metal and etch on it, let's just say I put on it an image of an AR-15, okay? Like a little tiny image of an AR-15 and etch it onto a bottle cap opener, okay? I wouldn't feel like I have to contact the ATF and say, am I manufacturing guns? Because it's clear and obvious and self-evident, without a doubt, that any reasonable and rational person looking at this would say, you just etched on a image of an AR-15 onto a piece of metal. It wouldn't even be an issue, right? I don't have to ask anybody for permission for my freedom of speech or freedom of the Second Amendment and go, am I creating a gun? I wouldn't have to do that, right? No person would say, why? You need to go get permission from them. So if this was so clear and cut, why did they even feel the need to ask them? And the point that they felt like they needed to ask them goes to show you their state of mind. They knew it was a gray area. They knew they were doing something that was borderline. And they were dealing with an agency that we all know changes their mind like that, okay? They can change the rules just because they feel like it. And we live in a world of a post-constitutional republic where, while in theory we should have all these freedoms and all these things, but in practice we don't. We see it all the time, and not just in the firearms world. We clearly know what the Constitution says, but we see violations of the Constitution all over the place, okay? So this is beyond the Second Amendment, okay? And we have come to expect this. Now, should we still stand up for our rights and fight to try to get back to what the Constitution says? Well, yes. But if you really study American history, we've never really followed the Constitution to the letter. I mean, we're talking back to John Adams when it came to the Alien and Sedition Acts, arresting journalists for saying mean things about John Adams and the administration, right? That's going back to 1800. 1801, 1802, and there are problems with that. So we already had a post-constitutional government breaking people's freedom of speech and arresting people because of what they were publishing in newspapers back then. And it's only grown since then, okay? But this is the world that we live in. So we have the framework of what our utopian vision of a constitutional republic should be. But in practice, we know that's not the case. So when it comes to Matt Hoover, my whole thing is, while I don't think he should be rotting in a jail cell, I don't think he should be in federal prison, and I don't think that what he created and advertised is of danger to anybody, okay? I believe it is what people say it is. I have problems personally with him lying to fellow gun owners, because for me, we're a community and we're supposed to treat each other with kindness and be honest with each other and do honest business. I think it's not right that he was selling people an item that he says could scratch your full auto etch, and all of you guys defend him and go, it was a piece of art that can't actually be turned into a lightning link. Well, even if that is the case, and it's a First Amendment civil issue, why aren't you pissed that a gun owner was taking advantage of other people? To me, that's scummy from the very beginning. It's wrong, right? We want to treat people with respect. If you're going to sell a product, well, make it do what it says it's going to do, right? But that's another issue, and that's not what the case was about. But you guys get and understand what I'm trying to get at here. So why aren't you mad at him for asking for permission? Why aren't you upset with him for not listening or to other people say, don't trust the ATF? They shouldn't have trusted the ATF from the very beginning, because you guys get mad at me about that stuff, and you guys would not defend me if that was the case. I know that for a fact. I mean, I remember when I did that Amnesty pistol brace video stuff, there were people in my comments wishing that the ATF would come and arrest me and kill my dog. There really were, because they were so mad because they thought I was a traitor bootlicker. Don't trust the ATF. They're coming to your door. You're now on a registry. They're going to outlaw pistol braces. Now you've admitted to a felony of having an illegal SBR and all that kind of stuff, okay? They did all that, and they wished me harm, okay? Now, am I upset about it? No, not. And nothing ever happened, right? I mean, people, Amnesty registered those. That was fine. But when it comes to this, everyone defends them. But everyone says don't trust the ATF. And what it all boils down to is making good decisions. I mean, let me give you two analogies. One I've used before, and one I'll just which is kind of hyperbolic, but I think it still makes the point. Is it your First Amendment right to stand outside of an elementary school while the school is, getting out of session and scream profanities and obscenities to the children, as long as you're standing on public property and on the sidewalk? The answer is yes, it is your freedom of speech. It is. You can do that, okay? Is that advisable? Probably not. And I think a lot of you that might have elementary school age kids, or have had elementary school age kids in the past, might go, it's their First Amendment right, but I'm not really sure I feel safe and secure that my child is leaving and there's this person standing on public ground screaming, the F-bomb at them, telling them just horrible, whether it be racist or sexual things. You guys would not tolerate it. In fact, I guarantee you a lot of you guys and gals would go out there and probably confront him. Because even though it is his First Amendment right on public property to do that, you would say, this isn't right, right? I have no doubt that being a good parent, that's what you guys would do. And you guys would try to find a law enforcement officer or agent to go to the situation and go, figure out a way to get him arrested. He's got to be doing something wrong. Got to be doing something wrong. And let's just say they get him for, whatever it is. He might not even be intoxicated, but let's say they arrest him for, a public intoxication. Okay? Totally bogus charge. He goes to court. Okay? And he's judged by a jury of his peers. And these peers are like, man, while I totally agree, he really didn't break the law, I don't want him standing outside of that elementary school and harassing those kids and saying those inappropriate things to them. Yeah, it's his First Amendment right, but I'm going to vote guilty because I just don't want that. It doesn't make any sense. And why would that person want to risk his freedom, his liberty, his treasure, his life, and risk everything just to scream obscenity at kids? What would be the grand purpose of that, okay? Is it his First Amendment right? Yes, it is. But you guys aren't going to go out there and be all pissed off about it and try to defend him, okay? So that's the first example. Now, the second example is about making smart decisions. Now, is it your legal right to juggle chainsaws? Now, I know that sounds like a very hyperbolic, weird, rhetorical question, but yeah, it's kind of weird. It is your right. And is it kind of cool to see a professional juggler out there juggling chainsaws? Okay, yeah, it is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it because, number one, I can't juggle. But number two, I look at the risk reward of this and go, you know what? Me juggling chainsaws, while it is my right and it is legal, it's not something that I want to do because the possibility of something going wrong is there. I don't want to get hurt. Well, Matt Hoover thought, obviously, so he had some foresight because he asked permission once again. He was like, this is something that might hurt me. I better ask, right? But I think most logical, reasonable, and rational people, understanding how the ATF works, understanding the fact that he would be judged by a jury of his peers, and many of these people are going to be ignorant of firearms, don't understand anything about them, don't understand firearms law. He was juggling chainsaws, and he dropped one, and that's what happened. As I said, I can support him 100% and say it was his right. I would have personally voted to acquit him. But I was not on that jury. I wasn't there. Neither were you. He was put up and in front of a jury of his peers and found guilty. And people are found guilty all the time of doing nothing. Okay? It's just an artifact of our justice system. It's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. But it's pretty good, right? You have to say it's definitely better than what maybe they have in Venezuela or North Korea or many other countries around the world. It's not perfect. But you have to understand that when you make decisions that could potentially put you in front of a jury of your peers, you're always rolling the dice. You're always taking a risk. And it has to be a calculated risk. And from my perspective, Matt Hoover calculated the risk and thought it was what was worth it. Everything from his rhetoric saying, "Oh, he's gonna, wipe their asses. There's gonna be wipe the floor with them and all that kind of stuff. They're gonna beat him in court." Man, he was confident. I mean, good for him. Good for him. He thought everything was fine, and that's fine. I support him, but I don't have to defend him when I believe he made a risk or a decision to do something that came with a high risk. And he dropped the metaphorical chainsaw. What do you want me to do? People make poor choices all the time. I mean, for me, that's not even something I would even calculate. For me to have the ability to sell an auto key card, and to tell people, send me cash, I'll send it in an unmarked envelope to a family member. So, I mean, it all sounds so sketchy. Whether or not it is, or legal, or whatever, you're right, it's legal. But just because something's legal doesn't mean it should be done. If you're going to do it, you have to expect the consequences of your actions. He knew and understood what could happen. He sees what the ATF is capable of, how they won't follow their own rules. He has to understand what prosecutors today in certain jurisdictions will do. He had to have thought about that. And if you support him and say he should have done that, it was a wise business decision, that's perfectly fine. But every decision you make has consequences, okay? Even if they're innocuous decisions. For example, hanging Christmas lights on your house and getting up on a ladder, okay? You're just hanging Christmas lights, but what goes with getting on a ladder and getting up on your roof? You run the risk of falling off that roof, breaking your neck, and breaking your back. I mean, it just goes with it. Are the odds that you're going to do that very high? Well, maybe not, but it's a calculated risk that you make. But guess what? People do fall off their roofs and break their neck. It happens. It really does. And I know that people in the gun community want to rally behind somebody that's, taking the risk, because a lot of you guys that support him and are fervent fans of Matt Hoover, you're not willing to take the risk. You're not willing to do what he did. You're excited because somebody else is. They're fighting the fight for you. They're doing these things that you only wish you could or wish you had the bravery to do. And you don't have that courage. You don't have the bravery. You don't have the resources because when you calculate the risk, you go, man, I sure love my family. I sure love my house. I can own all the firearms that I want. I got a nice collection. Yeah, I got good friends. I eat well. Got a good job. Do I want to risk all of that in the off chance of me making a lightning link etching on a piece of metal? Do I want to risk all that? For how much profit? Probably not much at all. Is it worth it? Most of you would say no. I know that for a fact. In fact, I would probably say everybody watching this video would say no. Because if you said yes, you'd be doing it yourself. You'd be doing it yourself. And yeah, I'm kind of calling some of you guys out. Not in a mean way. I'm just asking you guys to be self-reflective and think about the decisions that you make. And try to understand what I'm trying to say. That I agree with you. He shouldn't be in jail. I agree with you that what he did was not against the law and that him being arrested, him being tried, and him going to prison is a travesty of justice. He shouldn't be there. But I don't have any horse in this race. For me, if it, people are saying this was a First Amendment issue. Well, if it's a First Amendment issue, I have nothing, I don't care about it then because this is a Second Amendment channel. I'm all about the Second Amendment. So you guys need to be all upset with the, was it the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU. Go talk to them because it's free speech, right? They're all about free speech. This isn't a Second Amendment issue. If this is a First Amendment issue, why do you have to ask the ATF? So I would not have voted to convict him. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he has a wonderful family. I know he has people that love him and people that care about him. But it's kind of like, I feel like people in the gun community, the reason they salivate over the story, the case, and everything that goes on is because they like to watch a train wreck. It's kind of like people like to watch drama but not be a part of it. It's really easy to be a spectator. And people don't want to get involved. We see it all the time. When it, for example, when it came to the ATF pistol brace stuff, there were a lot of keyboard warriors, and I still joke about it all the time. Shall not be infringed. The ATF can't create law. Good. You're right. but what are you really doing about it? Are you getting your friends together and go taking picket signs outside your local ATF field office? Are you creating groups that are going to fund attorneys to fight this? No, you're not doing this. All you're doing is going online and typing in all caps, shall not be infringed. The ATF can't create law. Come and take it. Whatever it is. Well, you're doing nothing. That does nothing. It's not like saying shall not be infringed on one of my videos that the ATF comes and looks at it and goes, wait, shall not be infringed. Oh my God, we can't do this. Shall not be infringed. Doesn't do anything. You know, because you're not courageous to put up your own time and your own money to actually fight the stuff. You want other people to do it for you. And sure, it's easy to be a spectator and be a cheerleader. You know, it's kind of like Matt Hoover, in a way, is kind of like what the Roman gladiators were, back in, 64 AD. You know, they were the gladiators fought for people's entertainment. You know, today we have football and UFC and all that kind of stuff to get our blood, guts, and gore and all that kind of stuff and fighting and so forth. You know, to get that kind of primal urge, you know, that people want to see all that stuff. But back then, it was the gladiators, and they fought to the death. And you would cheer on the gladiators. But were you really defending the gladiators? No, it was a show. And you might be behind a certain gladiator, but that gladiator you knew could get killed. And those gladiators knew when they went into the arena to get all the adulation and all the attention put upon them that they could be killed. And I kind of feel that's what Matt Hoover did. He thought he was like a Second Amendment gladiator. He loved the attention he was getting on his channel because the rhetoric he spoke, you know, scratching your full auto itch and telling them that they're going to, you know, wipe the floor with the ATF in court. All that kind of stuff. And he was getting tons of views and tons of people's comments going, yay, cheering you on. But were they donating money to him? No. All they were doing was just posting comments. They were the people that were sitting in the Coliseum cheering for a gladiator they really didn't know or truly care about, because when the gladiator gets killed, what are they going to do? Well, they just continue to, you know, eat their turkey legs and then smile and then go home. They don't follow what happens to the dead body as it gets dragged out of the Coliseum and eaten by the lions. They don't care because that gladiator was just there for entertainment. And that's what Matt Hoover was for a lot of people. And people are just watching this because it's a train wreck. They're watching it because for the same reasons that people watch the gladiator fights. They want somebody fighting, but they don't want to fight. You know, they're like, I'm not getting involved. I'm not going to jump in the Coliseum and fight that lion or the other gladiator. Hell no. But he will. He will. And I'm going to go woo for him, right? That's all this was. Okay? So I hope that I clarified my point about I do believe that he's innocent. But it doesn't mean I'm going to go to bat for him because I believe he made poor decisions. Just like that chainsaw juggler. It's cool to watch, right? But why do you watch the chainsaw juggler? Because you know there's a chance he's going to drop the chainsaw and mayhem is going to ensue. Come on, we all know it. We all know it. Look at yourself in the mirror and you know it. The only reason you watch people do stupid crap is because you know there's a chance something's going to happen. And you all watched Matt Hoover, and something happened. Okay? So I hope I clarified some of my positions on this and addressed some of the issues you guys had. But anyway, sorry. I know some of you guys didn't want to hear about this, but I kind of felt like I needed a part 2 of this. So anyway, if you made it to the end of this video, what can we talk about? Because I got to give you a word of the day. What did I do today besides make a video? If you care anything about amateur radio, which I know none of you guys do, but it's one of my big hobbies now. I absolutely love it. I recently hung a wire dipole outside my garage here, and today I actually made my first DX or long distance contact to Costa Rica on my Yaesu F. Let's see if I can show you here. There it is right there. 100 watts on upper sideband on 10 meters with this little wire dipole, and I made it to Costa Rica. So that was a big exciting thing for me today. Was not expecting that, and so that's just some news about that. But I don't know how many of you guys are into amateur radio, but I absolutely love it. It's so fascinating. To me, radio, and I understand the physics and the math behind radio communications, but to me it's still magic. It's still magic. It's amazing that I can sit here on this workbench when I'm working on guns and so forth and have this radio on, and I can hear people from all around the world, and I can talk to them. And it's literally using the power of a 100-watt light bulb, and it's magic. It's magic. It's so fascinating to me. So the word of the day, because I wanted to give you that story because it was a huge accomplishment for me. The word of the day is going to be Costa Rica, because that is where my contact was. Reached an amateur radio operator in Costa Rica. So that's it. So let me know what you think about Matt Hoover. Let me know if you have ever done amateur radio. I'd like to know. How many of you guys have call signs? And I guess that's it. I really think if you're a prepper and you're into guns, you really should be into radio too, because I think it's a good, like, you know, it's the SHTF scenario. I never get that acronym right, because it's good. It's a good skill to have. Communication is a good skill to have. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight. I know it's been a long video, 31 minutes, 36 seconds. So you guys know the word of the day. Let me know if I even changed your mind at all about Matt Hoover, or at least you understand my position. So, as always, thanks for watching.